Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Odin's Movie Blog. I am the critic who is a cynic. Hope doing well, and today we'll be covering a little bit of news considering and dealing with Gal Gadot, who is, of course, Wonder Woman and did a phenomenal job in the first film. Her and Patty Jenkins really are a great team, not only on screen, but also off the screen as well, because there were many interviews that both of them did together where people seem to try and push political talking points, try to push them to speak and be more political in their feminist activism. And they said, no, screw you. Let's just be honest and talk about what people actually want to hear about, which is the movie. And also, let me just go ahead and poke a bunch of holes in your nonsense. And Gal Gadot has continued to bring that about, as this recent interview seems to indicate. And so this is, of course, coming from Bounding the Comics. Gal Gadot believes Wonder Woman is for both girls and boys. It goes both ways. Thank you very much, Gal Gadot, for trying to show everyone out there, including the woke media that's trying to cover this and twist this into, ooh, we're going to make this into the uber modern day feminist movie that it needs to be, when in reality, no, it's just a good movie. Ideally, Wonder Woman 1984 will be a good film. I hope that they're able to look at the flaws of the first film, because believe me, there were plenty of flaws in the first film, most especially in their CGI, which was very, very rough at certain scenes. So hopefully they've been able to pick up for that and to improve on it. The first trailer, for the most part, looks pretty good. I've been very active, I've been very vocal with the fact that I think Kristen Wiig being cast in this movie is a terrible idea. I don't think she's a talented actress. I think that everything she's done has always been the same part, and every time she tries to play against her type, against the character that she normally plays, it just doesn't turn out very well. Not to mention, of course, she is indeed attached to films like Ghostbusters 2016, which has a whole bunch of issues attached to it. So it just always concerns me when she's being cast in a movie, because even though we don't have any reason at this point in time, based on the synopsis, based on the trailer, based on the people behind the scenes like Gal Gadot and Patty Jenkins, to be concerned that the film is going to go in any type of political direction, when you have someone like a Kristen Wiig attached to it, it definitely does bring that to mind because of the projects that she has been attached to previously. But more importantly for me, it's because I don't think that she's that great of an actress. And for her to play a major role, or seemingly a major supporting role, in Wonder Woman 1984 definitely concerns me somewhat. But let's talk about Gal Gadot today, because, of course, I do want to give props where props are due. And Gal Gadot has always given me reason to. Not only has she been very vocal in her support of Israel, which, of course, is a very controversial thing nowadays, for some reason, to be able to support a country. Also, she's been very vocal about what actual feminism is. You know, what actual feminism is supposed to be. And she, of course, makes it very clear with this. Gal Gadot took an inclusive position on playing Wonder Woman this week when an interviewer broached the topic of how empowering the character is for women and young girls. So, of course, the media is going to continue to try and spin this as, let's talk about the women, let's talk about the women, let's talk about the women. And she's like, hold on, hold the phone. Let's not exclude men from the discussion either. This is a character that's not just for women. Unlike Brie Larson, who says, that film wasn't made for you. Oh, Wrinkle in Time wasn't made for you. You know, you're a 40-year-old white male. It's not made for you. I don't care what you think. Gal Gadot takes the approach. Brie Larson, you should take notes from this, of saying, no, this movie's for everyone. There's stuff in this movie that anyone of any background, of any gender, of any race can enjoy in some form or fashion. This is the type of marketing that you need. You know what, to be honest, I think Gal Gadot and Henry Cavill should come together and give classes to the Hollywood elites. Could you imagine a class run by Henry Cavill and Gal Gadot on how to interact in media and how to not go woke? Dear Lord, Hollywood would be amazing. If everyone acted like Gal Gadot and acted like Henry Cavill in their interviews and didn't attack the fans and were, actually inclusive. You know, you always hear that term thrown around, and it's become almost a dirty word nowadays, because anytime you hear inclusivity, it usually means wokeness, but they actually mean it. They say, no, let's just talk about everyone here and how this relates to everyone and not just women. Because obviously that's still important for her, and it's important for a lot of people, especially when you look to just everyday, sensible people that do not care for political wokeness, that do not care for any sense of political correctness. Talking with Entertainment Tonight, Gal Gadot was asked about playing an iconic character for the second time in Wonder Woman 1984 when she is the mother of 2 daughters. And she replied, but I got to tell you, it's not just for the girls. It is for the girls, but we can't reach the place where we are going to stop talking about female men, women empowerment, feminism, and all that before we work on both female and male. We can't just empower women only by focusing on women. We also need to educate the boys and the men, so a young boy that goes to see this in the cinema, this amazing woman that does these amazing things, that he can believe a woman can do that. You know what I mean? So it goes both ways. Now, I know some people might try and dive into that and say, yeah, but doesn't that seem to indicate some type of political motivation? But I don't really think so. I think that what she's honestly trying to point out is that what true feminism is about true equality. Not equity, but true equality. And when we look to this, we have to understand that, well, one way to do that is by trying to reach out to all audiences. If we're going to go ahead, and she and Patty Jenkins both know this, if we are going to say this movie is meant for women, if this movie is just meant for the female audience, we're going to lose. Because the female audience, though it can be very powerful for certain films, is not the entire audience. In fact, the largest portion of a movie audience, the ones that spend the most money, are men. Are that range that Brie Larson has gone out to attack, which is the reason why so many people now just don't really like her all that much. She's not a compelling character. She's not a likable person. Based on her interviews and based on her interactions, she's just not very likable. Gal Gadot, everyone's like, hey, even if she says something that I disagree with, I can at least appreciate her for being respectful of others. Brie Larson, really not all that much. Her comments are a counter to a lot of what we see and hear from Hollywood. Brie Larson said A Wrinkle in Time wasn't made for white dudes after the film failed at the box office. Guess what? Because white dudes make up a major portion of the box office. I wonder why that film failed. It's not because they were racist, it's because the film was not good. It's because the film tried to say, we're going to focus on just trying to be all-inclusive without actually telling a good story. You can be all-inclusive and tell a good story and have a successful film, but of course we can't talk about that because that's just speaking honestly. And if we try and speak honestly in today's society, Brie Larson's going to call you a racist. Brie Larson's going to call you a sexist, and the rest of Hollywood are going to call you any type of istophobe that exists in the world around us. It's interesting here. A Wrinkle in Time was not made for white dudes at the film failed at the box office and later urged Hollywood to move faster on representation and diversity with superheroes. How about no? How about you tell stories that people actually want to see? Why not focus on casting people that are actually the best for the role? Why is it that we have to look at everything through a gender or race lens? That's the problem in society today, is that too many people now are so focused and so obsessed with that if you aren't obsessed with it just the same way, you're an istophobe. You will be called every name in the book. You will even be blacklisted. If you simply say, you know what, I'm going to tell the stories that I want to tell. I'm going to cast the people that are going to fit the best for the roles that I want to play. If you say that, oh no, you're an istophobe. We're going to call you out on this. And yet that's where we currently are now. How about instead you tell the movies? If there's an actor out there, that's the reason why I came to the defense of people like Jordan Peele when he said, I don't think I would ever cast a white male in a lead role. And his reasoning was, well, because when I look at the screen or when I think of stories, the people that I have in my mind tend to be African American. And I said to myself, you know what, though? Hey, if that's what he wants to do, then he has every right to do that. Just like if a white director or white writer envision for themselves a mostly white cast, they should be allowed to do the same without any sense of being called racist or istophobes. It goes both ways, or at least it should go both ways. We all know in reality it doesn't, because people like Brie Larson and others will just go ahead and attack you if you don't agree, if you don't fall in line with their crazy thinking. But it's something that needs to be discussed nonetheless. So, of course, Brie Larson says, Siri, how can I time travel to June 5th, 2020? Because, oh my gosh, females. And I bet that Brie Larson is going to be the one, not Gal Gadot, but Brie Larson's going to be the one talking about female power. And Gal Gadot's simply going to be saying these amazing responses, just like, again, her and Henry Cavill are both hearing everything that's being said to them and saying, oh, I see what you're doing, media. You're trying to get a little soundbite from me. You're trying to get me to bite and chomp at the bit at what you're saying and go along with your political narratives. But I'm going to say something unique. I'm going to say something different, which is that, no, these movies, these projects that we're making are meant for the general audience. They're meant for everyone. You don't have to be a male or female or black or white or whatever to enjoy a project, or at least that should be the hope. You would think. But of course, in today's Hollywood, that is just not allowed. So what are y'all's thoughts about this? Do you think that Gal Gadot had a perfect response here? I know that Young Ripa did a video on this very topic saying that she had a masterful response to this stupid question, this stupid line of questioning. And you know what? As I said before, Gal Gadot, you and Henry Cavill need to come together, join forces on a movie or something. At the very least, you need to teach a class to the rest of the Hollywood elitists, not just those that are actors, but also people behind the camera like Rian Johnson, other writers and directors, and of course, also people over at, what was this, ET, Exclusive, and all the other media publications that are just so obsessed with politics. And just for us to think about, hey, let's just talk about the movie. How about we talk about the movie, and how about we talk about how the movies are supposed to be? Because if you just talk about the movie, if you just talk about the actual production, and you talk about the story and all these other elements, guess what? That is going to appeal to a mass audience. As soon as you turn the discussion into, let's talk about what this means just for women, then now you've excluded a group. Just like if I were to go to someone, if I were to go to Henry Cavill for Superman saying, what do you think Superman means for men? Let's talk about just about men. It's called Superman, so let's talk about what it means for men. He would rightfully, because we've seen him, turn this around, say, no, Superman is not just a male character, it's a character. And a character is meant for all people. The character is meant to be appreciated and liked by more than just one subsection of the group. But because we live in this identitarian politics era where everything has to be broken down by race and gender, it all goes to hell. What are y'all's thoughts about this, though? Do you think that Gal Gadot had a great response? I personally think that she did. Yet, is it a perfect response? I wouldn't go so far as to say that, but I think that it was probably one of the best responses that could have been given the questions and the situations. Also, the trailer does, for the most part, look pretty badass. I love the music. I know some people was asking about whether I did a trailer reaction for it. I stay away from trailer reactions because it's very easy for those companies, and for random companies even at times, just claim it and copyright, and I just don't even want to play around with that nonsense. But it was a solid trailer for the most part. However, of course, Kristen Wiig being in it, just to me, is a major downward spiral. So I probably won't go to see the film until I know just how much of a role she plays. And if it's very limited and it's not terrible, it's like Walter Mitty, where it's actually controlled Kristen Wiig, then I might actually want to go see it opening night. But if not, and I gotta be honest here, that's to me enough. Kristen Wiig bothers me enough because of her lack of acting skill to, hold off on seeing the movie right away. But let me know your thoughts about that and all the things we talked about in the comment section below. If you like this video, smash the like button, give us a subscribe. It helps us out a lot. Please check out the links in the description. Become a Patreon member if you want to be shouted out during all my live streams. Also, check out Subscribe Star as well for the same perks. I do some random giveaways as well over on Subscribe Star as well with digital codes, Blu-rays, things like that. And of course, if you want to support the channel, you can donate through PayPal, things like that. If you want to help to support those giveaways, increase the number of giveaways, or just want to support me and the work that I do, I would appreciate it. Anyway, thanks you so much for watching. Have a wonderful day. And as always, God bless.